Hello ninjas, welcome to the Ninja Channel. This story you are about to watch is not part of the canonical events of Boruto, taking place sometime after the conflict between Konoha and the Kara organization. From now on, I count on your subscription if you're not yet subscribed, your comment saying what you thought of the video, and share the video with your friends to help the channel. Without further ado, let's get into the video. On a beautiful day, Himawari Hyuuga wakes up from her sleep, gets up, makes her bed, and heads to the kitchen where her mother is preparing breakfast for her and her brother Boruto. With a sleepy but big smile on her face, Himawari greets her mother. "Good morning, Mom." "Good morning, Himawari. Breakfast is almost ready. Could you wake up your brother while I finish here?" says Hinata. Himawari nods and walks to Boruto's room. When she reaches the door, she stops, knocks 3 times calling for Boruto, but receives no response. She then turns the doorknob and opens the door. Upon opening it, Himawari notices that the room is neatly organized and there's no one there. Himawari returns to the kitchen to inform her mother. Boruto isn't in his room. Everything is tidy. He probably woke up early to train with Sarada and Mitsuki. It's a shame he didn't eat anything. After speaking, Hinata grabs the stuffed bread and fruits she had just placed on the table and puts them into a paper bag beside the kitchen counter. She closes the bag and looks directly at Himawari. "After you finish your breakfast, could you take this to your brother? He's probably near the Ninja Academy training with his friends." Himawari nods and starts eating the feast her mother had prepared for her. A few minutes later, Himawari finishes filling her belly, grabs the bag with Boruto's breakfast, and bids farewell to her mother. Leaving the house, Himawari quickly heads to the Ninja Academy. As she walks, she observes the citizens of Konoha, seeing how happy they are due to this era of world peace that her father achieved after the 4th ninja conflict. Himawari recalls the stories her father used to tell about what the ninja world was like, the great battles that occurred when nations were enemies, and how only the strongest survived in those times of fighting. Although she is happy that the world is now a considerably peaceful place, Himawari still worries when she remembers the Otsutsuki attacks that happened some time ago. She realizes that even in a time of peace, someone might eventually destroy this balance, and someone will have to confront these enemies. Himawari was lost in these thoughts until she looked at the Hokage monument. A great sense of relief filled her heart. Himawari remembered that there are people capable of stopping powerful enemies from destroying everything. But once again, worries came to her mind. Himawari remembered that her father is not as strong as he used to be. He lost Kurama, his companion who made him very powerful. Himawari was lost in these worries for so long that she didn't realize she had already reached the Ninja Academy. In an open area beside the academy, it was possible to see Boruto, Mitsuki, and Sarada training. Upon seeing her brother training, hope re-emerged in her heart. Himawari realized that the ninjas of this new generation will be responsible for saving the ninja world if something happens to her father. With a big smile on her face once again, Himawari runs toward her brother. When she gets close to him, Himawari shouts his name, catching his attention. Boruto quickly looks in her direction with a surprised expression, but Boruto didn't expect Sarada to be heading his way to attack him, hitting him on the head with a moderate punch, which Sarada managed to soften just in time when she noticed Himawari calling Boruto's attention. Boruto finds himself sitting on the ground, complaining about the pain, while Himawari begins to apologize incessantly. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your training. It's just that Mom sent your breakfast. You left so early that you didn't have time to eat anything." Mitsuki gives a small smile, while Sarada is charmed by Himawari's innocence. Boruto reaches out and grabs the paper bag from his sister's hands. He opens it and starts eating the contents while resting from his long training. Himawari sits next to her brother and watches him eat, while Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki talk about the training. A few minutes later, Boruto finishes his breakfast, while Mitsuki and Sarada continue their conversation. "I'm getting better at adapting to my Sharingan, being able to predict his moves much more easily, but I need to improve my reflexes to dodge the hits," says Sarada. "You're focusing more on attacking than actually dodging, which is allowing me to land hits on you. You need to improve that balance between defense and attack," says Mitsuki. "And you, Boruto, how much longer are you going to sit there? We're not done with our training yet," says Sarada. "You're right," says Boruto, getting up from the ground. Boruto turns his eyes to his sister Himawari and questions her. "Are you going back to keep Mom company?" "No, I'll stay here a bit longer and watch your training," says Himawari. Team 7 resumes their training while Himawari observes them again. She gets lost in her thoughts, thinking that Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki will be the ones responsible for saving the world in the future because they are skilled and very intelligent ninjas with a great capacity to evolve their abilities to a level comparable to that of a Hokage. Himawari looks at her 2 hands, which she had just lifted with palms facing up, and begins to wonder if she could also become strong enough to confront future enemies and fight alongside Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki. Himawari feels sad again, thinking that she is insufficient, just a small and fragile child, unable to defend herself. But when she looks at her brother training again, she realizes that no one is born powerful. So, for her to do something, be useful to Konoha, and save her family if necessary, she would need to train to become stronger. But where to start? Himawari looks around and sees a large space where Team 7 is training. She realizes she needs a spacious place where she has the freedom to move. Himawari starts thinking of possible places, starting with a forest, but realizes it would be dangerous to train alone in a place where anyone could hurt her. She considers training inside the Ninja Academy, but those hours would likely be occupied by other ninjas. Finally, she remembers the Hyuuga mansion, which has plenty of space for training and suitable equipment for combat. As a Hyuuga, she would have free access to roam inside the mansion without anyone interrupting her training. Himawari gets up and runs toward the Hyuuga mansion, but she had forgotten to say goodbye. She goes back and waves with a big smile on her face, her hand moving side to side. Her farewell is reciprocated by the 3 ninjas, allowing Himawari to head to the Hyuuga mansion. Some time passed. It was considerably late, but night had not yet fallen, so there was still some time for Himawari to train in a large area at the Hyuuga mansion. Himawari began to move in the way her mother had taught her when she was a child. With her hand open, she made movements as if pushing the air, repeating this many times. Himawari spent about 5 minutes doing the same gestures, until her aunt Hanabi appeared. She approaches Himawari with a big smile on her face, letting out small chuckles. "What are you doing alone? And what are those movements?" Hanabi asks. "I'm training to get stronger because I want to become as strong as my dad and mom," Himawari says, with a shy smile on her face. "I think it's amazing that you want to train to become stronger, especially using the fighting techniques of our clan. But the way you're training is completely wrong. This way, you won't get stronger. You'll just make your body very exhausted," says Hanabi with a big smile. But she quickly stops laughing. "I don't really know where to start. My mom, dad, and brother are all too busy to help me, so I decided to do it on my own. I'm just using the basic knowledge I still remember learning from my mom." Himawari finishes her sentence with her head down, feeling considerably embarrassed. "I see. If you want to train the right way, I'm available. I can teach you many techniques that the Hyuuga clan possesses, techniques that made Neji Hyuuga known and respected worldwide," says Hanabi. Himawari quickly lifts her head and becomes very excited about the idea of learning to fight from her aunt Hanabi. Hanabi teaches Himawari the correct hand movements when using the gentle fist techniques. She also teaches her how to use the Byakugan correctly so she can use both techniques together. After several hours of training, Hanabi finally stops and tells Himawari that she needs to rest to recover from all the effort she put in that day. Himawari returns home, where her mother is waiting with dinner already prepared and her father has just arrived home.